Morning, everyone, or good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Welcome to week 6 of data journalism. This will be the Thursday, October 3rd class. So scroll down on your week 6 schedule, down to October 3rd. And we're going to do a sports graphic. We've done some work with Data Wrapper. We've done some work with Flourish. Now we're going to kind of, you can use either one on the exercise. And you're going to create a graphic with sports stats. Now, I know all of you aren't sports fans out there, but some of you are. And for those of you that aren't, big sports fans and don't understand baseball averages or things like that, you can always do things like TV ratings for the Olympics or attendance for the Cubs or the Sox or the Bears. Has it gone up or down over the years? So it can be any type of data surrounding sports. But many people do, performance on the athletic field, goals in, the World Cup or, whatever. So it's really up to you, what you want to do. If you're unsure of a data set, run it by me, send me a little note. I'm happy to take a look at it before your assignment is due. So again, the final project story ideas were due yesterday. The approved ones will go into what's called a story budget. What is a story budget? It's where your approved ideas go on our Google Drive. So if you click on this little link here, it's good to look through this, and the ones I've got up here are last years. So yours will be here, today. It'll look a little different. And read through all of these. It'll list, all, 9 or 10 of them, however many we have, and see what other people are working on. And this is kind of cool because I see this play out in a lot of classes. Once you see, what others are working on, sometimes you might have an idea for a source or somebody for them, or maybe you've run across a data set that would be useful to them. So reach out to them and help out. I've seen this happen in my digital and data journalism classes for years. It's really a cool thing to seek out or to work through. And, so help another group out if you know of anything that would be helpful to their idea. Sometimes it's been, hey, my neighbor, had long COVID or whatever. But, we've had some really cool things where groups have helped out others. And this is how newsrooms work. They work off of what's called a story budget. It's not like, the dollar and cents budget. It's, this budget lines that you guys wrote for your story idea pitches. And they put them all either into a spreadsheet or into a, Google Doc like this. And they can scroll through and see what stories are coming today, tomorrow, maybe bigger projects that are going to come in a week or so. So I just kind of wanted to show you, that I store them in that link. It's at the top level of our class Google Drive, right underneath the syllabus where all that stuff is. So, do take a look at that, in the next couple of days. And, if there's any way you can help somebody out. We really had some good luck with it last spring in my digital class. Several groups, shared ideas. A couple of them were working on similar ideas, but in different neighborhoods. It's really kind of a cool thing to see. So, help each other out. It happens in newsrooms all the time. We used to share sources and, resources all the time. Hey, I know somebody that can talk about that, and you give them a number of an expert source or something. So, or an email address or something. So, now we're going to talk about the sports graphic. And again, don't sweat this if you're not a big sports fan. Some good sources we're going to look at here for digging for data, sports data handout. And then we're going to I'll walk you through how to build one in Flourish. And you can do it, in Flourish or Data Wrapper. And if you use Data Wrapper, remember to log in as me so you can get the paid export version of the graphic. I've got the headline description down here for the graphic too, and the source. So, we'll be able to build out the chart relatively quickly. So we'll go over the assignment sheet first and what you have to do, and then I'll kind of talk about where the practice data is and the digging for sports data handout, and all of that kind of stuff. Excuse me. Little summer cold. The digging for sports data handout is right here. And you've got all of the resources down here. And the really cool thing about this is sports data is a little different than the data sets you've been looking for so far, from the city data portal. The city data portal, a lot of the data is dirty or, you can't find it, that type of thing. Sports data tends to be very clean and audited. Stats Inc., which is based out of the northern suburbs here in Chicago, audits all of the pro basketball, NBA, many of the NCAA sports, Major League Baseball. They go through and do what's called an audit on them the day, after the event. They'll go through and edit the stats, and sometimes they update them. A guy gained a certain extra yard, or it was a shared sack in football instead of one player sacking. It was a half sack for two players. And they'll audit those and go through and change them. So you can go in and open any of these up. It's called Pro Football Reference. It's the reference sites, we call them. College Football Reference, Basketball Reference, Pro Basketball Reference, Baseball Reference, and Hockey Reference. I've got some other ones down here. Spotrac has some really cool business data sets and financial information. The NFL Players Association, player salaries. Maybe take and do a pie chart of the 10 top players in the NFL. There's also player salaries in Pro Football Reference. Soccer Association data has a lot of cool soccer stats from all over the world. And this is Stats Inc. This is the paid site, but sometimes you'll find some free stuff on there. That's the group that does the auditing of all the pro sports. You can find data elsewhere. There's Olympics data, all kinds of things that you can go out and find. But these are just a few of the sites. And I'll kind of show you how the reference sites work here. It's really easy and fairly easy to download. So this is pro-football-reference.com. And up here at the top, it usually has the standings and just some of the latest news out here. What you care about is a little search tool up here. You can go up and search a player's name. It could be somebody from several years ago. Could be a current player, maybe somebody that the Bears just traded for, like Keenan Allen. He's a new Bears wide receiver. Maybe you want to do year-by-year stats on his receiving statistics or something like that. Has all his key player info up here, his bio, has the last season in his career overall numbers. He's caught 904 passes for over 10,000 yards, 59 TDs, and he's averaged about 11 and a half yards per catch. Pretty good. But down here, if you scroll down, you have to go down through the ad and stuff. It has his year-by-year career statistics. So you could take this little column here of yards and do a little line chart with it. You could just do year and yards, or you could do TDs, although there's fewer of those. The yards are a little better because there's more disparity. He had some years where he's over 1,000 yards, some years where, he was only, 700, or, he only had 63 this one year because he got hurt, and, things like that. So what you'd want to note in the chart, you want to make sure that the reader knows that in the description. Hey, dude was injured in 2016. That's why he only played in one game, and he had one catch. He got hurt, early in the season. So to download this, you go over here to where it says share and export. And the one you want to hit is get as an Excel workbook. Click on that and it'll download, and it'll download as an Excel spreadsheet. So click on downloads, and it'll always show up under sports reference. Will be the name of the file. It's right down here. You can drag it, drop it out on your desktop, and then, you can go and open it up. I'll drop this into Excel and see if it'll pop open for me. And sometimes it'll give you a little error here. Oh, the file extension wasn't right. Yeah, it's right. It's okay. Click yes. There's your data. And I'll blow it up here so you can see it. So it's taken everything out of those cells. It's basically, just done a basic scrape of it. And you can pull out this top header row here. And then you have year by year, just delete out everything but yards in the year. And you've got his career numbers year by year. And that makes for an easy line chart, or bar. You could do bar chart on this as well. Bar chart makes actually look a little bit better. So that's how you go in and download player stats out of Pro Football Reference, or really any of the reference sites. So you can do it with Baseball Reference too. You can go and find your favorite ex-Cub or whatever. So now that we know how to find the data, what can we do with it? Okay, so we've covered digging for data. We can go in and open up our sports data assignment, which is right here. And it's on your schedule here. I got links to everything. The assignment sheet is right here under A. Go ahead and click on that, and also click on the folder with practice data for class. So just hit pause and open up both of those. In this folder, we have some practice data, and I want you right now to download this bond season data here. It says Barry Bonds year by year home runs. So if you hit the little download button right here, it'll download into your downloads folder. I've got some other stuff here that you can work with. If you're having trouble maybe coming up with an idea for your project and you're just stuck, I've got Michael Jordan's year by year points per game average each year. Tokyo Women's Olympic 800 meters from 2020, which is pretty cool. There's all kinds of templates, especially in not so much in Data Wrapper for this one. This one in the Bond Sosa McGuire animated line chart. The animated charts you have to do in Google Flourish, or in Flourish, excuse me, not Google Flourish, but in Flourish. Google used to own it, but not anymore. Canva owns it. And Canva Flourish just doesn't sound quite right, does it? But that's the case. So anyway, I digress. We'll go back to our sports data assignment. You can hit pause if you want and maybe read through this. But what I'm going to have you do is create a graphic using sports data, post it in your Medium account, write 300 words of analysis with it, short paragraphs, AP style, apply your math for journalists, and analyze it. Talk about, if you're doing Keenan Allen, let's say, why did Keenan have such a low year in 2016? What happened to him? I'd put that probably in the graphic and then write about it in more detail in the story. It tells you how to embed, the Data Wrapper, the Flourish. Just remember, if you're using Data Wrapper, log in under my paid credentials, so you get to use it and to export the embeddable link. Monday, October 7th at noon, the assignment's due. Tweet the assignment to the UIC digital hashtag with a description. And I've got a bunch of examples in here. I'll show you these. These came from past students in this class. I've got a couple professional examples too. One's a prep high school soccer stats down in Pensacola, Florida. The other one's a reporter at the Denver Post, tracked some Rockies strikeouts and home runs. And actually it's for the whole league, but it kind of shows where the Rockies stand and all that from 2019. It was pretty cool. Came from one of my professional trainings. How will it be evaluated? The accuracy of the data. Did you select the right type of chart or map? You probably won't do a lot of mapping with this. Every once in a while, I'll get a student that'll map all the Division I college basketball prospects in the state. Which is a pretty heavy assignment, but some of them wanted to do it, so they did. Spelling, grammar, punctuation. Did it embed properly into the site? Did you write the story and do a good job with it? Don't cut any corners here and have AI try to write your story for you, because as you know, I can catch that pretty easily. So let's look at some examples of what some students did, in past assignments. Melissa Pierce did a really cool ones. She took the Barry Bonds exercise that we're about to do. She actually did it as a bar chart, a scatter plot chart combination. So each year you click on, there's actually 40 dots here to represent the 40 dots. It's record year 73 years, so there's 73 dots in the bar chart. Really cool graphic that she did. She did this in Flourish. Flourish has this template. Then wrote a really nice short story, linked to some background information, and really, did a nice job with this, good attribution with the story as well. Mark Santos broke down, if some of you might know Mark, good guy. He broke down the Golden State Warriors player salaries. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson get a big chunk of it, along with Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green pretty much too. And then has, kind of an other for the lower salaries, and then one other player, James Weissman. Those are the biggest salaries. And then did a little analysis and breakdown, linked off to some really good background on this as well. This is a really nice story. A good use of a pie chart is to break down a budget. Leon did a fun one, Diana Taurasi's games played and average points per game. And then, the one line represents the number of games played in the bars, the points, average points per game. And the total games, over here. And this is kind of good because it shows, the fewer amount of games, the lower the scoring average was in those years. The player was injured in 2012 and 2019. Trossi had a nice long career, so sometimes it's good to take veteran players and do the charts with. She also added a little footnote, which is a little tab in Flourish that you can do. Added a nice little note in here that she sat out the entire 2015 season, and the story talked about that. Really nice. She had an ankle-related injury, I think, that caused her to miss this amount of time. Really cool story with it too. Very fun graphic. Brianna Webb did something similar, only with home runs. Home run chart again, very similar to what Melissa had done. Well, she did Ryan Braun. Boo! He's a Milwaukee Brewer. Milwaukee, current Milwaukee Brewer, I guess. And she did a little story on him as well. Really nice chart. Notice the headline. She didn't do a description. She probably should have added a description. But notice her credit, baseball reference, and she did the graphic. You always want to have all that in your chart. This is a fun one. You actually have this data set. What Noir did here was a look at the women's 800 meter final at the Tokyo Olympics back in 2020, and just has them running around. She loaded the spreadsheet that has all the players' split times, or the runners' split times for each lap, and then it paces it out. And you can see them taking the different leads. What's kind of cool at the end is they give medals out, gold, silver, and bronze, to the first, second, and third place finishers, just like the Olympics does. And as they come up to the finish line there, you see gold, silver, and bronze. It was all three inside lanes that got it, which is typical. That's why they stagger the starts like that. And they did a nice little story here on the background of all the top three finishers, and I think the top American finisher won it, and third. We're first and third in the U.S. here. It's kind of interesting. So cool little stories and charts with it. The thing you might want to note about each one of these, with the exception maybe of the Taurasi one, these are very simple data sets. They're typically 2 to 3 columns. This was simply 2 columns: year and number of home runs. Not much to it. So they took bigger data sets and just boiled them down into simple charts. And a lot of them are bar charts, but you get some line charts and then the animation ones in there too. So go ahead and hit pause and open up and log into Flourish, which you know how to use already. Go ahead and sign into that. All right. Now that you've got Flourish open and you've gone in and downloaded out of the sports practice data folder right here, the bonds home runs year by year home runs, hit that download button. Now that you've got those two things, you can go in and start building your chart. So click new visualization, and we're going to do a column chart, which is right up here at the top. She did, some of the students did a little combination of this, and they went in and changed the settings on the column chart to be the little dots. That's how you get the little individual baseballs. We're just going to do a regular column chart. But there's group bar charts here. If you're doing, maybe rushing and receiving statistics for a running back, you can do how many yards rushing, how many yards receiving. So, that's the stack column chart right here, or right here, I should say. Or you can do it horizontally this way. The horizontal looks kind of cool, actually. We're just going to select the column chart here. I should point out too that lower on the page, if you want to do an animated line chart or an animated player graphic or something like that, you can find these down lower on the page here. So they're all available to use. The bar chart ones are really good too. The fact the animated line charts you can do as bar charts too. Really cool stuff. So there's all kinds of different templates in here that you can take and use. So let's open up the column chart here. Could do it as a line chart, but it looks a little better as a column chart. Click on the data tab. Remember, you get your dummy data in here. You don't really care about that. Hit upload. And then we're going to pull in our Barry Bonds season home runs data. Hit import. Hit continue. Okay. And you should wind up, if you click on back on preview, it should automatically default to label and time being the year, and then the values, the data, the home runs over here. Now, if you're getting some weird error message, go up here and click on this little button up here at the top, and just make sure it says number column and not text column. That's been one of the little quirky things about Flourish. I think we talked about that in class last week, to always make sure that it's numbers up here. Okay, so let's go back to preview, and you should have a little bar chart that looks like this. And you see his 1970 or his 73 home runs in 2001. That's when he broke the major league home run record set by Mark McGwire 3 years earlier during the steroid era. We're going to change the colors on this. Barry spent most of his career in San Francisco. He was with Pittsburgh for a little while too, and I believe Miami for a little while. So if you click over here on colors and go to color palette, click on edit color palette, and I'm going to drag orange up to the top. Okay, so I'm going to do it in his team's colors. Okay, so pretty cool. Let's go in now and add in a header and a footer. So that is on our schedule here, our class schedule. If you go all the way down here, it's got headline Barry Bonds home runs year by year and his description. So we're going to go and drop those in. Always drop your headline up the top in the upper left corner and drop it in where it says header and title. I'm going to center it. And I can, you can change the color if you want to, make it pop a little more. I'm not too wild about getting crazy with colors on headlines, but it's all right. Kind of matching. Did a pretty good job of guessing and matching that out of the color panel down here. And just click on this little color swatch to get it. Got lucky today. And then I'm going to go back in and add the footer or the description underneath it, and then the footer. The description is, typically a sentence or two that helps give context to the graphic. And do that right underneath where it says text, not subtitle, but text. You click out of it and it's there. And then I'll take Baseball Reference as my source. I could go right to Barry's page. In fact, I probably should, but I'll just take you to the home page. It's good enough. You do that under footer over here on the right-hand side. His source name is Baseball Reference. And then under note, graphic, and your credit. Graphic Mike Reilley in my case, otherwise it's yours, your name. I'm going to flush write mine, and I'm going to make the font size just a little bigger so people can read it. And now I'm done. I've got a header, a description, and a footer down here. All I have to do is go up here to the upper right-hand corner and hit the export and publish button. Remember to hit publish again, and it asks you one more time. Once it turns green, you're good to go. Click on the link. You have the embed codes down here, but really what you care about is the link, because that's what you'll use to embed. Click on it. I always like to see what it looks like on the web. Copy your link. Then you're going to go out to good old Medium, medium.com. Remember that? All right. And I'm going to write Barry Bonds runs year by year. And, you can start writing your story if you want. I'm just going to embed my graphic to start with. Hit that plus sign. You go over here to these brackets right here. Add an embed. Paste your link in. Hit return and be very patient. And the graphic will drop in. If you try it a few times and it doesn't work, no problem. Just do a hot link off to it out of the story. But do your best to try and get it embedded because it looks really, really good here. Remember, it won't be interactive until you publish it. And once you have your story written under it, then, go and publish it. Barry Bonds, home runs, MLB, byline, I'll do 4. Publish now. And then once it's live on the web, it'll become interactive. That throws a lot of students. Remember too, not to hit share on X, but to just copy the link. And then go in to Twitter and write your post and link off to it. So, I would explain in 2005 what happened with the outlier, the low one. He was hurt. Here, he broke the Major League Baseball home run record, but was investigated, part of the Balco investigation on in later years. So it cost him a trip to the Hall of Fame because of that. A lot of voters won't vote for him. Same with Sammy Sosa. So this was considered these 3-4 years in here the steroid era of Major League Baseball. It's a very dark time for baseball. So that's how you do the charts, and you can do it in Data Wrapper too. Remember, just the export is a little bit different, but same premise. And I think you'll have a really good chart to include in your portfolio that you're starting to build out now. You've got some graphics in there. You have some more things coming. Just remember, it's due by Monday, October 7th at noon. Do remember that this is pre-recorded, so the link is right here on the class schedule. It's also available on your syllabus as well under the October 3rd schedule. And we do meet next week, the following week here on October 8th in SEO 1200. So I'll be back from my trip to DC and we will be able to meet again in person. Thanks so much. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. I can always be reached as long as I'm not in a training session or anything. All right, take care and we'll see you next week.